I'm going to start recording again here. Okay. I think we are recording. J Group, how tall are you? 5 what?
5'6".
5'6".
But reality is 5'6".
There was an actor in one of the classes that I was in LA, and he would always be like, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah, 5'10", 6'2" with boots." Every single time, like he would always say that. How much do you weigh right now?
158 pounds.
158. All right. Okay. So what I was saying, let me see, share screen.
Yeah, uploading my picture.
Okay. Yeah, what I was saying was that everyone likes to make fat loss very complicated, all these things. No, it's physics. And these things can be literally measured. Fat is the molecule for human fat is, I believe off the top of my head, is like 56 carbons, 106 hydrogen, and like 6 or 8 oxygen. My point being, it's not mysterious. I need to use up those atoms that I've stored as excess body fat. And in order to do that, I have to stop ingesting more calories than I need. Calories is, I think of more of it as atoms because calories can be confusing for people. But it's like the best analogy that I've heard that I really like is like, if you have your bank account and you keep putting money into it and you don't use as much as you're putting in, your bank account's going to get fat and it's going to store all that excess money until you decide to use it. The body is the same. If I keep eating calories, the body is going to store the excess calories that I'm eating as fat. So that's actually a beautiful system. Like as humans, we're like, oh, I don't want to be fat. I don't want this. But biologically, I mean, every system is set up beautifully. And so now I can remove all the emotion and be like, okay, if I have like 20 pounds of fat on me that I would like to get rid of so that I can see my muscles, the abs underneath, I need to start ingesting less calories. All right. And so now the question goes, how many calories does a person need? The amount of calories required for a person is based on two things. Primarily how big you are. So a bigger person is going to use more calories. And then secondarily, how much you move around and do. So if I walk 10,000 steps, I'm going to require, so for the average person, that's going to require about 250 calories to be used to carry me that distance. And then if I lift weights, that's going to use more calories. If I, garden every day and do all these things, run around with whatever, that's going to use more calories. So those are the two things. All that being said, since the primary factor is how big you are, humans fall into a pretty narrow range of sizes, right? Vast majority would be between 5 feet and 6'2". Pretty much everybody. I would say probably most are going to be between 5 feet and 6 feet. So there's not going to be this huge variance in amount of calories that people need. And so people make this complicated, calculators, this, that. I'm like, it's very simple. In the 15 years I've been doing this, unless you're like 7'4", and then you're going to need like 4,000 calories or 5,000 calories. Everybody else is going to be between. I've never had anybody outside of this range. Most people is going to be 1,500 on the low end, and that's if you're a smaller girl, and like 2,500 on the high end. That's a very narrow range. A very simple blanket way to do this is go 2,000 calories. And then set your protein at your like lean body weight, be done with it. Set your fats to about 50 grams. The rest of your calories come from carbs. That's it. Like people make this super complicated. It's not. So like if I was going to do Justin's, so I would go, okay, Justin is 6'2", 228. So obviously, and Justin has a lot of muscle and he's always on the go. So like how many steps are you getting on average?
10, on average, like 9,000 on average.
Yeah. So you're very active, plus you're working out, plus doing all these things, and you're 6'2". So I could bump Justin up to like 2,300, 2,400, and he will lose fat. If I want to be a little bit more aggressive, I probably put Justin at 2,100. And another simple way to do that is, and again, these are all like different ways. I keep it super simple. I'm like, if you're above like 200 pounds, put you at 2,000. If you're taller, I'll put you at 2,100. If you're below, most like the group, I'll probably put you at, for calories, I'll probably put you at, let's see, like 1,700 calories. And you could probably get away, actually, even 1,800 calories, they'll give you a lot of room. That's a lot of food. And you will be losing body fat very predictably. And you'll probably get down to like, so you're a little bit, so you're 158. I think your leanest, what are some of, I don't remember, like you've been lifting for a while too, right? Like what are some of your numbers? Like what was your chin-ups? How many chin-ups can you do?
Chin-ups, I can do it like 8, 9 in a row.
Okay. So you're fair, so you got good strength. So
I would say, because before 1 or 2 only, but for past 2 years, I've been just doing some at home myself, right? And that has made me do more. But yeah, I've been active in the past, but past few years I haven't been active. But recently, in a year and a half, I do at least 45 minutes of workout at home, and I do push-pull legs, one day rest, push-pull legs, one day rest.
So what are you typically like squatting or deadlifting?
Well, I don't have that.
Sorry, you're cutting out.
45 pounds, like maximum in my each hand dumbbells.
Okay.
I don't know what my PR is. I haven't tried it.
So, okay, so that's fine. The point is, like, you have a good base of strength. I think the reason I ask is, like, I think you'll probably end up in the low 140s at super lean. We always think we have more muscle than we do and less fat than we do, which is one thing that prevents guys like, oh, I don't want to keep getting leaner because I'm going to get small. Like, no, like, that's just how it is. Like most people have a lot of fat on them, and you don't have as much muscle as you think. But that's irrelevant because I don't care about the number. I care about how I look and how I perform, right? So like I've been down to like 143, super shredded, but I'm deadlifting 500 pounds and dunking, and like, I'm bodying guys that are like 70 pounds heavier than me, playing basketball. So why does the number matter? It doesn't, right? So just something to keep in mind as you drop weight. Like, don't have opinions or don't think about it too much. Just focus on hitting your calories and getting strong. So anyways, so that's how I'd set my calorie numbers. Next thing I would do is, so like for Justin, okay, protein, 200 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat, and how many grams of carbs are left? Let's find out. So we go, and so just in case anybody doesn't know this, 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So if I use up 3,500 calories more than I eat, I will lose 1 pound of fat. typically if we create a deficit of about 500, 700 calories per day, you do the math. Like every week, you should be losing about a pound of fat. 1 gram of carbs equals 4 calories. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. And 1 gram of alcohol equals 7 calories. This is physics. This is not made up. This is not up for debate. You can get in a lab and measure this. So what's left here is carbs. So 200 times 4 is 800. 50 times 9 is 450. So we got 800 plus 50. So that's 1250. So 1250 calories out of this 2100 is protein and fat. And all I got to do is subtract 1250, and that leaves me 850 calories, and those are going to come from carbs. So I just take 850 divided by 4 gives me 212, just round up, 220 grams of carbs. Does that math make sense?
Yeah.
For myself, I'll probably watch a recording back just to have it ingrained in my head.
And I'm just going to write that here because I don't think that showed on the screen, but 200 grams times 4 calories equals 800 calories from protein. So this is how anybody would do it. So you set your calorie, then you set your protein. So for Justin, his lean weight will probably be around 200. So it's just 1 gram per pound. So that's why I set 200. Then the same thing, 50 grams. So for fat, I keep it really simple. Unless there's a very specific reason, most people in the 15 years, I've had between 40 and 60 grams of fat. So 50 grams times 9 calories equals 450 calories from fat. So you guys see that, right? Like I set the protein, I set the fat, and then here's how much calories are in each category. And that gives me, so 1,250 calories are accounted for. So I go 2,100 minus 1,250 leaves me, what was that, 850 calories from carbs. Then I just take, to find out how many grams that is, I just take 850 divided by 4, gives me 212 grams of carbs. There you go. That's my breakdown, and that's how I got to those numbers. Okay. Now over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go, so like I said, so for your group, I would probably, so I always, you can't go wrong with protein. So I'll probably still have you around 1. There's no male that I put below 170 grams of protein. And that's just like a preference. If you wanted to, you could go to 150 because that's gonna, that's close to the body weight when we're done. But I'm gonna keep it at 170 just because. Yeah. And that's, it's 20 grams. It's not difficult to hit. And then fat again is gonna be the same. And then we're gonna find out what happens for carbs. I think it's going to be around, I've done this so many times, it'll probably be around I think 150 or 200. So we'll go 170 grams times 4 calories equals, anybody got that? 170 times 4, 680. So that's 680 calories from protein. And then And then fat is the same as Justin. So 50 grams times 9 equals 450 calories from fat. And then now we go 680 plus 450, which gives me
1130.
1130. And then I go 11 or
1800, right?
Yep, minus 1130, which gives me what?
670.
670 calories from carbs. And now to find the grams, I just take 670 divided by 4, which gives us how many carbs?
167.5.
So I just round out, go 175 grams of carbs. Boom. And there you have it. Boom. That's your macro setup. Does that make sense? Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Now, if you hit those numbers, I promise you're gonna get shredded. Like there's no other. That's the only way it works. The things that come up, okay. If I choose foods that are difficult to track, then I don't know if I'm actually getting 1,800 calories. If I'm going to Chipotle where they're not always accurate with their rice scoop, maybe one time it's 4 ounces, but maybe one time the girl is in a good mood and she's, talking with me and she's not paying. She's like, oh, I'm going to give you extra. And now I don't know if I have 8 ounces or 12 ounces. And I've actually measured the rice. It varies. So like if I go from 4 to 8 ounces, I've doubled the calories and I don't even know. So if I go to In-N-Out patty is always the same. It has the same amount of calories every time. So if I'm going to eat, and I'm just giving you an example of like, I don't want to make choices that make it difficult to track. That's why number one skill is to make your own food. So if I make my own food, I weigh it. There's no way I can fuck up. There are ways, but if you put it on a scale, if 4 ounces of chicken is always 4 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces of rice is always 4 ounces of rice. And so that is the best method, and that method will teach you all the skills and pattern recognition to be able to go out and eat anything, anywhere. But I call that phase 3. That's the fancy stuff. And I wouldn't even touch that until until I'm as lean as I want to be. People want to do the fancy stuff, but they don't have the basics. It's like you wouldn't even think about doing calculus if you haven't passed, algebra 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. Like you don't have the basics. How are you going to do this? So my recommendation is make this as easy as possible by using the 4 lenses. And I've been talking about the 4 lenses, but that goes high enjoyment, low calorie density, convenient. So that means fast and easy to cook and clean. And then easy to track. So that means like it has a label, or it's less than 5 ingredients for if you're making something. These 4 lenses make all of this really, really easy. And that's phase 1. So I have the nutrition protocol. Phase 1 is make your own food, and do not eat anything that you can't track easily. So if you don't have a food scale, get a food scale. We can do another Zoom another call where we can set up meal plans, because having your protein taken care of makes the rest of the day so much easier.
That's true.
So we can, like have some templates and some ideas of like what should a typical day look like. I'll give you an example just that I do is I'll do the strong shake, which is about 50 to 70 grams of protein in the morning. Then I'll eat a donut every morning with coffee. Then I probably won't eat unless I made burritos at home and I took them with me. And then if I feel like, I need to eat something, like I want to have the feeling of eating, I will probably stop at like McDonald's or In-N-Out. And then when I go home, I'll have some type of meat and some type of carb. So usually, again, that could be burritos, tacos. It could be meat and rice. It could be meat and potatoes. And that's the typical day. So, and then at the end of that, there's usually some type of dessert because gotta have some dessert. So that's it. Any questions on this?
No, this is great. I've been looking for that. Now, next step is just to get a scale. I need a scale to make sure I weigh my things, use an app to track my, all my calories, proteins, and all that.
Yeah. Food scale is imperative. Like without a food scale, it's like I'm a firefighter without a fire suit. Like, bro, you can't do what you're trying to do if you don't have the tools. So food scale is very important. I'll put a link in the group with with a good one. Food scale, weight scale.
A weight scale, yeah. Weight scale is, I weigh myself every day, right? And I've been consistent at 157, 158 pounds.
And
yeah.
Yeah, and so as far as weight goes, a couple of things. Your scale should be able to measure you to 1/10 of a pound. So it should be 158.6 or 158.2. So you want to have that level of
granularity.
Granularity. Because there's a lot of changes that happen in between 158 and 159. And so we want to collect that data. And the second thing, you always weigh yourself at the same time in the same conditions. Otherwise, we're getting data. Like right now, I just drank a bunch of water, so I'm 5 pounds or 2 pounds heavier, and I weigh now. That's not accurate data. So every morning, you go to the bathroom before you eat or drink, you weigh yourself. That's it. That's the measurement you're taking. If you want, this is optional, but it helps. You can start measuring right around your belly button. And I mean, I only go like, get one more measurement, but technically you could go around the arm, around the belly button, around the thigh. Belly button just is the easiest thing. It's like, go to the widest part of your stomach, measure there. That's it. Because that'll show you like, you're still losing fat even if the scale doesn't reflect it, which is going to happen. So very, very important. But the last thing I will say is whenever you can, you're eating, you're about to eat, take a picture of the food and how you tracked it. Take the picture and the screenshot and put it in the group, because then I can go in and look at it like, oh, dude, you didn't track XYZ. You track this as 100 calories. What you just took a picture of is like 400 calories. And so we can break down, I call it game tape. Like if we're not seeing your work, then I can't really help because I don't know how you're tracking the food that you're eating, because that's where a lot of mistakes happen when we're at the beginning. I just had a guy, he was tracking his meals. Each picture was like 200 calories, 250 calories, and it was glistening in oil. And I was like, I was like, I was like, but you didn't track the oil. How much is the oil? He's like, oh, I'm supposed to track the oil? I'm like, dude, oil is fat. And if you look here, fat is the most calorie dense. You're consuming 200, 300 extra calories in every meal that you never accounted for. That's why you haven't lost any weight. But we wouldn't have figured that out unless we had pictures and screenshots. So, any other questions?
No, it makes sense. And you did take a look at the pictures that we uploaded, right, on the forums.
Yeah.
Just an idea for you to how we currently look like, and how much journey is ahead of us.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, like I said, I'm more concerned about my abdominal area. The rest, everything, I feel like, I don't have much fat over there. But it's just, I think so now the main thing is just counting calories, making sure I stay on top of my game about my calories. Not just eat everything, just track what I eat, get a scale, food scale, and, get going.
Hey man, I can relate to that too. I'm not always that consistent with tracking my food.
Yeah.
Something I'm getting better at for sure.
Yeah, like I'm wondering. I only eat twice a day only. I don't eat any snacks. My snacks are like peanuts, pistachios, like nothing crazy, nothing like unhealthy. I don't have a sweet tooth, so I don't eat any. I don't crave for sweet stuff anymore. So all I eat is like 5 boiled eggs with some salsa on top of it, just so, otherwise it won't taste good to me. And in the evening, I just have my mom's two roti with a dal or sabji, whatever we have at home, right? That's what I eat. That's all I eat. 2 meals, no snacks, and some coconut water, maybe. You're mute.
We can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Is the screen sharing off now?
No, it's still on. We see it.
Oh, okay. Man, I'm just gonna have to use Zoom until I get more familiar with this. Okay, cool. Just off of what you said,
Right.
2 things. One, unless you're actually tracking, you have no idea how many calories you're eating.
True.
I don't care who it is. Like I've tracked for 15 years, not 15 years, like 10 years. And when I'm not tracking, I don't know how many, like I can have a ballpark and I never get super, super fat. Right. But like if I want to get shredded, I go